Today, we are diving into something I'm willing to bet you've felt, but maybe couldn't quite put your finger on. We're talking about that constant, draining battle for your focus, in a world that is basically engineered to distract you.
Does this sound familiar? You're racing around all day long, juggling a dozen tasks, answering pings and emails, and then you look up, and the day's over, and you think, what did I actually get done today? If you've ever felt that, trust me, you are not alone.
And listen, this is really important. This feeling isn't a personal failure. It's not about you being lazy or undisciplined. It's not a willpower thing. What you're experiencing is a real documented phenomenon with a scientific explanation. And in this explainer, we're going to break it all down.
So where do we even begin? Well, to get a handle on this problem, we first need to look under the hood and understand what's actually happening inside our brains.
The fancy term for this feeling is directed attention fatigue, or DAF for short. But here's a much simpler way to think about it. Your ability to focus is like a muscle. Every time you ignore that little ping from your phone or resist the urge to open a new tab, you're flexing that muscle. DAF is what happens when that muscle is just so completely overworked that it gives out. And wow, when that focus muscle gets tired, it affects everything. We're not just talking about feeling a little scattered. It can mess with your judgment, make you more impulsive, more irritable. It can even make you miss important social cues in a conversation. Ever snapped at someone after a long day of meetings? Yep, that's DAF in action. You know, one of the biggest reasons our focus muscle is so exhausted is because we've all bought into this idea, the myth of multitasking. As Dr. Sahar Youssef puts it, our brains don't actually do two complex things at once. Nope, they just switch back and forth between them really, really fast. And that constant switching, it comes at a huge cost. Some studies show that it can slash your productivity by as much as 40%. Let that sink in. That's like losing 2 full workdays every single week. Just gone. So what's going on here? Well, it's something called the attentional bottleneck. Picture your brain's conscious awareness as a tiny single-lane road. You can only fit one car, one thought, on it at a time. Every time you try to switch tasks, you're causing this massive mental traffic jam. And that switch cost adds up, leaving you feeling completely drained. Okay, so we've established that our brains are, single taskers by nature. But what are the things in our everyday lives that are pushing us to this breaking point? Let's meet the enemies of focus. What's wild about this is just how normal these focus killers are. I mean, look at that first one. A whopping 80% of us work with our email just sitting open all day long. The solution is something called batching. Instead of reacting to every notification, you check your messages in a few dedicated blocks of time. For multitasking, there's time boxing, where you protect a chunk of time for one job and one job only. And that last one is huge. When priorities are fuzzy, we get overwhelmed. The fix is setting clear, smart goals so everyone knows exactly what the target is. And meetings. Oh, the meetings. This right here explains why you feel absolutely wiped out after a day of back-to-back video calls. Our brains have to work way harder to process all the virtual cues, leading to video fatigue in as little as 30 minutes. In person, we can hang in there for almost an hour.
All right, get ready for this one. One of the biggest enemies of your focus is probably within arm's reach right now. Your smartphone. A study found that just having it nearby, even if it's turned off, lowers your brain power. A part of your brain is constantly using energy to not pick it up, draining the very battery you need for focusing. The solution? Seriously, put it in another room. Out of sight, out of mind, literally.
Okay, so we've identified the problem and the culprits. It's not a pretty picture, but here's where it all turns around. There is a powerful solution, a framework for thriving in this crazy, distracted world, and it comes from the author Cal Newport. The core idea is pretty simple. You have to understand that there are two kinds of work. First, there's shallow work. That's the busy work, right? Answering emails, scheduling meetings, just moving stuff around. Then, you've got deep work. This is the good stuff. This is the head down, no distractions concentration that lets you solve hard problems and create real value. It's the work you were probably hired to do in the first place. But here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Research shows we spend a staggering 60% of our time on work about work. That's the shallow stuff. That means 3 days out of every 5-day work week are spent on logistics, not on skilled work. We have got to flip that ratio. So how do we actually do that? How do we flip that 60-40 and reclaim our time for the deep work that matters? Well, let's start building your focus toolkit. These are simple, science-backed techniques you can start using like today. A great place to start is with the Pomodoro technique. It's a classic for a reason. It's so simple. Pick one task,
Set a timer for 25 minutes and just work on that one thing without interruption. Then you take a 5-minute break. It's like interval training for your brain, building up that focus muscle one sprint at a time.
Now, Cal Newport gets that there's no single magic bullet, so he lays out 4 different styles for deep work. You just have to find the one that fits your life. The rhythmic approach is perfect if you're just starting. Just block out 90 minutes every day. Bimodal is for people who can dedicate whole days to it, like having a no-meeting Wednesday. Monastic is the extreme version, and journalistic is for experts who can just drop into focus mode on a dime. The key is, there's an approach here for everyone.
This next one is all about training your brain. You can create focus triggers or little rituals. See, our brains are all about association. So if you always clear your desk or put on the same instrumental playlist right before you start a deep work session, you're sending a powerful signal to your brain that says, hey, pay attention, it's time to get to work.
We have covered a lot of ground, from the problem of a tired brain to the power of deep work. So what's the big idea here? What's the one thing you should remember from all of this? It's all about taking back control.
It really all comes down to this. We have to change how we think about productivity. We need to stop glorifying being busy. True productivity isn't about how many things you cross off a list, it's about the value you create. And that can only happen with focused, undivided attention.
And this goes way beyond just your job. As Cal Newport so perfectly puts it, a deep life is a good life. Being able to focus deeply doesn't just make you more productive at work. It makes you more present with your family, more engaged in your hobbies. It just makes for a richer, more satisfying life.
Ultimately, in a world that is literally designed to steal your attention, being able to control your focus is a genuine superpower. It's maybe one of the most valuable skills you can build right now. So the only question left is, how are you going to use it?